There you go.
Okay.
All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Lupus Talks. My name is, of course, is Ed Peterson. You guys can see me. I know you can because I'm on camera. So, going to give you guys some updates and insights in reference to what we do each and every week. This is the new month of September, as we continue our lupus movement in educating and uplifting people across the country, as well as around the world. How do you basically continue to live a lifestyle while living with lupus? And so we have Dr. Kavina Williams, of course, and her other dynamic partner, Ms. Dolores Olson, to talk and share in reference to Lupus Talks. So I'm going to let her go ahead and take it over. Dr. Williams, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for joining in to this session. It is so important for us, and we appreciate you. And we ask you to subscribe. We ask you also to like, because we need you out there to help us continue our mission in helping those. Um, and I'd like to thank Ed for being a part of this. He's been with us since 2014, and that's a long time. So we're very proud to have him, and also proud to be on the in cyberspace talking to you, because this is a long journey that we've taken to be here. My co-host will probably be on in a little while, so I'm just going to go ahead with what we're talking about today. Oh, first of all, I'd like to thank God and praise Him for allowing this to happen. Um, we're talking about scoliosis, and she'll tell you her part of it because I don't want to break any HIPAA laws. She'll have to tell you what the doctor told her about her private situation. But I looked that up, and that's very important because we haven't touched on that. Scoliosis treatment for adults with lupus is a dual focus on scoliosis itself, in managing the underlying lupus and its effect on bone health. Treatments of scoliosis include physical therapy, pain medications, braces, and sometimes surgery. Now, for lupus patients, managing the disease is crucial, especially to address the increased risk of osteoporosis from steroid medications, which can weaken bone and contribute to fractures. Now, I hear a lot about people talk about that, and I also am one of them that have a lot of back aches and back problems. And it's good to exercise, but be careful that you don't exercise the wrong way. And so that's one of the things of having a therapist to assist you and tell you right from wrong. A lot of people have acupuncture too. I like acupuncture because when I was in California, they gave me acupuncture and water aerobics 3 days a week, and I did very well there. So I'm going to shine some, light on what's going on with lupus and scoliosis. So when we get on this, let me see. I'm going for resources. Okay, it says in this resource, google.com, you can google.com, lupus does not directly cause scoliosis. I want everyone to be aware of that. But it can lead to conditions that contribute to it, such as muscle weaknesses, bone loss from chronic steroid use, and rarely lupus nephritis, which can cause nerve and muscle tissues. Now, I just recently also had a bout for 2 months. I was in bad shape where I couldn't raise my hands, I couldn't lift anything. And I think he's sending me to a neurologist, and I've got to find the papers for that, or they call me. And that neurologist, um, nerve doctor, I should say, and it's probably the same thing, is going to be checking my nerves to see what's going on. But we suffer from that. Um, Let me go back, but it can lead to conditions that contribute to it, such as muscle weakness, bone loss from chronic steroid use, and rarely lupus nephritis, which can cause nerve and muscle issues. And that's what I stopped at. While direct links are uncommon, research indicates a potential role for the immune imbalances and inflammation in development of scoliosis, suggesting an indirect connection between lupus and spinal curvature. Now, curvature is when the doctor looks at your back, and actually the x-ray will tell it. And you'll see the x-ray where the bone is curved. It's curving to the point that some of it's curved real bad, some of it is just lightly. But once the scoliosis has hit, again, I'm going to do a disclaimer. I'm just going to do this. This is what I found out, and you have to research for your own. I'm not saying what you have and this and that. I'm saying go to your physician and get all the information you can. But what I am saying, after researching everything, when that bone is curved and curved and curved, I've seen people walk around with a hump in their back. I've seen that, where it's hard to bend up, it's hard to set straight. That's why your parents said in the old days, um, girls sit up straight, boys sit up straight. You don't want no hump in your back. And I'm not making fun of those who have that. What I'm saying is, old school had told us set straight up. So I guess they were dealing with that curvature, making sure that our back was in the right position, so we'd have a chance at not having that curve in our back. And that's old ways, and definitely it works. Now it says, should people with scoliosis avoid what? With scoliosis, you should avoid high impact compressive sports and anti-symmetrical activities like football, gymnastics, and one-sided weightlifting, as well as heavy lifting and puts direct pressure on the spine. You see a lot of these football players that are having spine problems now. A lot of them have lost movement and everything on the field because they have been hit so hard. And some of them that have had those injuries got back on the field, and they had some injuries that, bothered, I should say, that curtailed their, uh, I don't want to say stardom, but made them it was a handicap situation where they had to wait and try to get their back in full void to get back in football. So I'm being very careful how I say that, because um, I know some friends that couldn't go back and play football, and they were in high school because of that. Those hits are very hard. That's why they have those helmets on now, and a lot of them are suffering from brain problems, brain concussions and things like that. Also avoid foods high in sugar, salt, fat, alcohol. Focus on a diet which is anti-inflammatory, foods, essential nutrients. Avoid certain exercises that force the spine out of alignment, such as the Russian twist, that prolonged setting or standing that creates strain or uneven posture. Now, that Russian twist, like they said, is a prolonged setting. When you're sitting on your job all day long, just setting, 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 you need to get up. They had said every 15 minutes, I was told when I was working in office with my staff, they were to get up all the time, every 15 minutes, and start stretching, get their eyes off the computers because it would strain their eyes. Now, when we look at what age does scoliosis stop progressing, I'm going to say what I heard, and my cousin who has scoliosis said it never stops. And she's 78, and it never stops. And scoliosis progression, that's Dolores' mom. Scoliosis progression generally stops when skeleton maturity is reached, typically around the age of 16 to 18 for girls and slightly less, later for boys. But as she said, with the older adults, it's there and it can expand, it can increase. That's what she told me, because she has problems standing up straight herself. And it's very hard on her. It's very, um, uh, she said it hurts her, so we have to be aware of that. Though this is not a guarantee, and the curves can continue to progress slowly into adulthood, especially with degenerative scoliosis. And once growth has stopped, the spine remaining instability can lead to progressive. That's what I'm saying, to progressive compression and pain over many years. So ongoing monitoring and treatment are important even for the adult. Now, as we go into how do I know if I have, how do I know if scoliosis is affecting my lungs? Well, you might know scoliosis is affecting your lungs if you experience shortness of breath, especially during physical activity, difficulty taking deep breaths, or reduced capacity of exercise. Now, these symptoms occur because severe scoliosis can deform the rib cage. Let me repeat that again, can deform the rib cage, limiting the lung space to expand and function correctly. To confirm, a healthcare provider can perform a physical examination and a pulmonary function test to assess lung capacity and function, such as the spirometry. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but you can look it up. Spironetry. And you can let us know, just break it up phonetically and let us know how to pronounce it. I'll probably do that when I get off cyberspace. What does lupus? Oh, here's a good one. What does lupus do to your spine? Lupus affects the spine indirectly, often causing neck, back pain through muscle inflammation, fibromyalgia, or the effects of long-term steroid use, which can lead to bone weakening and fractures. And that's what um, they're very cautious with me with that because I'm a high risk because I'm always falling. I remember I fell in the closet. I was cleaning my cat's litter, and 'cause I like things to be, I don't know if you want to call that anal, whatever, but I'm saying it about me. I have to have it clean. I mean, clean, since it's in my walk-in closet because I'm always in there. Um, and I fell. I fell. I literally fell, and it was hard getting me up. My brother had to move the handicap chair, which is the one, the bathroom one that we set in the bathtub, and we sit on there and take our shower. Well, I take my shower. He won't. He won't use it. But he had to hold it down, and I had to lift myself up, even with all the pain in my arm and everything else. So that's very important. When you talk about a rare complication uh, with lupus myelitis, an inflammation of the spinal cord that causes uh, neurological symptoms like pain, numbness, and weakness. Dolores is on now. Hi, Dolores. Additionally, lupus can trigger inflammation in the joints and tissues of the spine and can exacerbate disc degeneration. When you look at this, it also says, what are the odd symptoms? What are the odd symptoms of lupus? Okay. Brain fog, seizures, psychosis, organ inflammation such as pericarditis or liver inflammation, lung complications with pleurisy, soreness of the palms and heels, swelling of lymph glands. These often subdued symptoms can be difficult to attribute to lupus, highlighting the importance of discussing all changes with the doctor to ensure complete diagnosis. And it says, is scoliosis a disability? Well, it's considered a disability when its severity prevents an individual performing work activities. Dolores, would you like to chime in on this? Because I'm on the scoliosis and saying how its severity might, for an individual, might prevent them in certain work activities. Are you on now?
Yes, I have a lot of tech issues, so it was having trouble connecting
Okay.
on both ends and that. But scoliosis, as we know that scoliosis is curved. Your spine, is curved. And it can happen any side. Like I deal with scoliosis. I have mild scoliosis, and mine's on the right hand side, and some people can play it on the left. And so, scoliosis, how it starts out, some find out in teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
teenage years, and some of them as teenagers, they will have to wear a brace.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get older,
16 to
uh,
18.
have, yeah, when you get older like that, it's nothing really they can do about it because see what happens unless you have surgery, but later on down the line, like with braces and that, it can weaken the your bones more.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you could probably just wear it for a temporary time, just maybe to lift something or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they really don't really recommend it because the fact it can weaken your spine unless you really, really need it for lifting things.
When I tighten things on my body like that, Dolores, what happens is when my back was hurting so bad, I have all kinds of stretch things here that I'll put on. When I put it on, because I suffer from diverticulitis, that right side is hurting so bad, I have to snatch it off because it's too tight. Even when I loosen it up, it's too tight, and I can't breathe with that. So there's a lot of issues that go along with that, and I hear what you're saying. Does Epsom salts help if you get in the bathtub and just use that as a routine? Is that something that can help scoliosis in the person with it?
Well, really, comfort and baby yourself. As when I'm talking about baby yourself, make sure you have heat. Heat is really good. Have a heating pad. Plus, you can soak too. Soak in some warm water if you're able to. Some people not able to sit like that. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on your condition, because some conditions they can't. It's so bad that it's uncomfortable for them to even sit like that into a
Mm-hmm.
tub. So they have to do forms of heating, like I said, heating pads like that. Like I use a heating pad, and
Mm-hmm.
that because I have on my neck too. So all the way from the neck all the way down to my spine. So I use one for the shoulders and in the neck, and then I have one for my back. So I make sure I have my whole area is heated, you know, and you heat it for how long? It depends on your doctor's instructions. Everybody's instructions
Mm-hmm.
is different. Mine's is mine's could be 30 minutes. He says 30 minutes is fine, or 10 minutes, you
Mm-hmm.
know, 3 times a day. And
Can
so
you
the
walk
more,
us? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, so it comforts it, but it's there's really no cure to it. The only cure to it is surgery, but I really don't
Mm-hmm.
recommend surgery. Try to get exercise as you can. That's associated with those type of problems that you can
Mm-hmm.
that deals with scoliosis, and that ask your doctor, and that they have good physicians out there that know have the knowledge, and they'll teach you how to care for it while
I
you
have
have it.
I have three questions for you, and I didn't mean to butt in, and I know the audience out there would like to know this. One, what was going through your head when your doctor told you about scoliosis within your body? And two, you might want to take notes. And two, is scoliosis hereditary from your mom and your mom or dad, and does scoliosis affect the brain? Can you answer those questions? And I can repeat them again.
Yeah, actually, in scoliosis, yes, number one, it can be inherited, and number two, it can sometimes it's not in the genes. It can just be, you know, or maybe like us. There's some people they believe in a generation curse to tell their siblings the truth, unless that your parents didn't tell you. There's some parents are like that, and there's some parents that's really open because that's the way they was raised, you know. So it's not, it's everybody was raised differently, but you
Hmm.
but also too
Does it affect the brain?
yeah, actually it can, because of pain. Pain can actually affect your brain.
Hmm.
It can.
Hmm.
And that's why it's good to have any kind of therapy to help you with it, because I really feel that if people go get therapy too for this too, because some people, it depends on how people can handle, but nothing wrong with having therapy, because when you have therapy, it helps you
Hmm.
with your condition, and it helps you to face through it, because a lot of people they carry it differently. Like with me, when I found out I had scoliosis like that, I just like, well, it's inherited.
Hmm.
That's all I could say. I said, I just have to roll with the punches,
Hmm.
and I just have to go through it, because I remember the day one when I became in pain. I didn't even know I wasn't even diagnosed with scoliosis until now. So I have first stage. So I just learned, but in the beginning stage of my pain issues, when I had for other problems I had
Hmm.
before I found out I had scoliosis, I was just like, I used to be in tears. And then my mama had to comfort me. She had told me to be strong. She said, think about me. Think about I am in my shoes. That's what she said. You got to be strong.
Hmm.
And then when I must have thought that, I was fine, and I also prayed a lot, and I also done a lot of things to comfort me. Like I love media, so I did media work and stuff, and that helped me too,
Hmm.
to bring out different characters and stuff to kind of help me out, because having fun, just letting people know that you could still be you, even though you're going through something, to try to figure out things that's going to comfort you and make you happy. It's just we don't have to be miserable or anything like that when it comes
Absolutely.
to the condition, because if we have no control with what happens with our health as we age and that, but all we could do is get the knowledge. The more knowledge, it's the more better.
You can
You
advocate
look
for
at
yourself. You can
and ask
advocate for yourself.
questions. Yep, yes, you can, and ask
But
many questions and everything.
it says under Google, scoliosis is not passed down strictly from mom and dad. Now, this reminds me of lupus because it involves a complex interplay of genetic, and environmental factors. But with lupus, we have stress, environmental factors, you know, and toxicity, you know, same format, meaning it doesn't have a simple inheritance pattern for a single parent. While having a close relative with scoliosis, such as a parent or sibling, increases your risk, it doesn't guarantee you'll develop it, as some cases are spontaneous and others may involve factors like nerve fiber elasticity, bone density, bone density, or tissue structures. That's major right there. That's major, you know. Same thing with lupus. You know, it doesn't mean you're going to get it, but you're right in the family. You're right in that family. You don't know, because many times there's certain places I can sleep in my bed. I cannot. I have to be very careful so I don't roll over the bed. You know, I used to have a high bed until my son and then took it upon himself to take it from me. I hope he listens to this one day, because I rolled off the bed a couple of times and fell on the floor. So they gave me a lower bed, not you know, just a lower bed, and it was hard for me dealing with that because if you have back problems, and it's not a low bed, but it's a bed that you can't go under, you know, the frame and you know get your shoes, get this because it won't go under there. But I had a problem with that because my back wasn't immune to something like that. You know, it wanted the fluff, it wanted the puffiness and all of that. And those, what would you say to those people out there who have those issues in terms of the lower beds, you know, the lower bed versus the puffy bed? What would you suggest to them? Not tell them, but suggest to them what would be good for them so they won't hurt themselves falling out that bed.
The best thing is to make sure when you have a condition like this, or something like that, maybe it'll be best to have some bars around, those kind of bar things to kind of secure you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you can buy stuff like that. If your insurance don't cover, you can buy it. You may have to buy. It depends on your insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and that, or you have to pitch it out of your own pocket. But that would be a good idea to have that, just like they have in hospitals, right? But they have a certain thousand things that have for certain type of beds that you can put rails right there to protect you.
I'm laughing, Lord, because I told my family I don't want to be locked up in jail. So you better not put no bars on the side of my bed.
I know. It's just like you're in prison in that, but
Yeah, I told you,
that's for your
better
own
not.
protection.
Cause I will, but I'll be like Al Capone. I'll try to break out of that. You know, I am not playing with y'all. You know, because we have an issue anyway with being sick. We have an issue of now scoliosis. Now it's a back situation. Now it's the breathing situation. You know, now it's tremors. You know, because I was suffering with tremors. That's why I have that little pin like you have, and it bothered me because I cut all my nails off, so I had to could type, because that's our way of trying to help others and advocate for others with that have various diseases, autoimmune diseases. But it's one after another. That's what I'm trying to say to the public out there. You got one issue, then you got something wrong with the central nervous system, the CNS, because the communication between the body and that is from the central nervous system, which is the CNS. And it's one thing after another. When does it stop? And I know you can't tell me that, but those are the frustrating issues that I have. When does it stop? When you think something else, you got under control, then you got something else, and you got something else. You got some. When does it stop? And when do you stop and get help? Would you like to address that issue? I know it's hard. There's no direct issue, no direct answer, but would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, you should always ask for help. I know sometimes people don't want to be in that condition, but if you feel comfortable of having somebody to help you, maybe that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's to me, it's a good choice because you want to protect yourself because you can get a fracture easy or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to get a fracture. I know you feel like you're probably in a hospital bed or something like that, but it's better than being flat on the floor with a broken back or anything can happen
And
to you.
can't get and
And
can't get
and
up.
can't get up.
You're
Yeah, because
right.
as you age and stuff like that, our bones get brittle, and that's why we
Yeah.
have to take our right vitamins, right? And just like
Yeah.
our vitamin D, like I just ordered me some more vitamin D, and so everything, we gotta make sure we take care of our bones because anything can happen. So don't feel hurt, don't feel ashamed because that happens. It's just protecting your health.
I was thinking while you were talking, and for those of you that this is for me because I'm more in the spiritual realm. I don't know if you are, but I'm speaking on my behalf. I was just thinking while Dolores, my co-host, was talking. The Bible talks about how when you hear that voice, when you hear that, run to the hills. Where those of us can't run because we're so handicapped, we can't get up on that cane or that walker or whatever. We just run. And I know I'm not making fun, Lord Jesus Christ, but I'm just saying, I think about that always. I do. Where do we go? Here's a lot of handicapped people who are bedridden, whether they believe it or not. And here you got a fire, here you got an earthquake, here you got people trying to come in there and get you. But some people are left behind, and what do they do? How do they deal with that? So the two things that what I'm talking about for me, I think about going up, running up to the hills. That's just my personal example. But on the other end, when there is a catastrophe, when there is a disaster, those people that the fires that just happened in California, what, and they're scared. What do they do? How many are people coming to get them? Because some people didn't make it. Some people didn't make it, and that's a scary situation, Dolores. When they feel I'm not going to make this, I'm really not going to make this. Nobody's coming into our ward. Our ward. They went on to 3, 4, 5, 6, but we got the seventh ward, and nobody's coming down because they're so busy and they're short staffed. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So how do
yes,
they get up
exactly.
out of the bed, huh?
So exactly. Yeah, a lot that feeling and stuff, you know, uh definitely and stuff. I can understand how a person feels in
Mm-hmm.
that, but we got to think about our protection. That's the one thing, like I was saying, because our protection is more important.
Mm-hmm. That's why we feel more free at home. I'm gonna tell you that now. I go back to me as a personal opinion. I feel more free. If something happens, I have the freedom to get up and get out of here. You know, I think about those and I pray about those who are, bedridden. They're not free to get up and go. They have to depend on someone to help them. And for those of you who have free time, like to volunteer, there are plenty of openings so you can help senior citizens, help them in the convalescent homes, in the hospitals, just help them, talk to them or go there and visit them. But I feel free. That's why I don't like going to the hospital. When I fell, I had that major fall, I wouldn't go to the hospital. The doctor said, why not? Because I don't want to. Because you feel you're locked up. When that key turns, you know what I'm saying? When that door turns, that nurse clicks something on that door and you can't go out, but your family, they have to sign in. You could hear it click. You know what I'm saying? Bam. And that does something to your mind that you don't have the freedom of taking care of your own body, that has come to this. It's come to this where I can't take care of me like I used to take care of me. And that's what happens, even with the young ones as well. But as we get older, as we get wiser, as we get more gray hair, and I told them I ain't dyeing my hair because that's gray, that's wisdom from God. And I love every piece of my gray hair. Y'all can look at it, every piece of it, But um, it's that mind problem there. It's that mind situation that, and those of you who have parents and have grandparents, whatever, look in on them, even those that are sick. If you guys are working and out of town or whatever, call your mama, call your grandmother, call your cousin, call them. Just a call from you will make a difference with that pain that they have in their back or that leg or the fall or whatever. You agree?
Exactly, I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, like we talk all the time, I mean, we're on the phone talking and giggling all the time, but there are those that don't have family members that, a lot of them have passed on. That's why it's so important to knock on that neighbor's door because with these back issues, if they have scoliosis or whatever, and someone needs to call the doctor because they have fallen. that commercial on TV is very scary. When that woman, you see her at the end of the stairs, Dolores, and she said, "Help! I've fallen." Nobody's there to help her. No one is there to help her. I know one of our lupus individuals, no name mentioned because we don't want to get sued, but we shouldn't mention it. But I'm just giving you an example. The person did not, the family did not show up, and she died of she was dehydrated, and she laid up on that floor for weeks. Nobody called. Nobody did this. The housekeeper, the this, that. I don't think she had any of that. But it was the people I spoke with, they were very sad because no one cared enough to help her. And that's where this comes in with scoliosis, all these diseases that relate back to the senior age. You know what I'm saying? The cognitive, the connective tissue age. And I say that anybody can get connective tissue, but those of us that are really handicapped, this is a frightening situation. And this was very important for me to talk to you about scoliosis when you were telling me about your personal dilemma. The audience should know about scoliosis and look it up, research for yourself, because you never know. And ask your doctor, ask them to do an exam on you, tell them about your back, tell them what's hurting you. So that's what I do. Dolores?
Yeah, exactly. It's so sad to see situations like that. That's why it was always good to really find people that we can trust in that. Because anything like that happened. Because I heard a story about XYZ, somebody that happened like that, similar like that too, and um, and it's so sad. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really sad that nobody cared, because there's a lot of people that have maybe families and they call them the black sheep of the family,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that means they didn't care about that person,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't care where they went. They just threw them out there.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen a lot of cases like that because XYZ, at the time when I was at bus stops, they would tell me a story, and
Mm-hmm.
so about what happened. And I believed her too because she was very sweet and she was a very humble person. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, it depends on the family. Some of them not really Christianity in the family, so they
Mm-hmm.
don't care, and they just throw them out there.
Yeah, wow. I see you on, Ed. I see you telling us to get off of here.
I think
Ed,
Man, you guys are doing great.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
All righty. So, as we continue our succession of course, Lupus Talks, it has been a great pleasure for everybody to tune in to the website as well as on our YouTube channel, Lupus of Nevada. .org is the website, Facebook, and then on YouTube. Always the YouTube channel. We want you to like and subscribe to this channel as we continue to share information done by, of course, Dr. Williams and, of course, Mr. Lois Olson, the two dynamic duos there. And if you have any questions, anything that you want to ask in reference to the topic of the day or anything, you can always go to the website at lupusofnevada.org. And you can fill out the form there and ask any questions. And of course, we'll be getting right back to you right away as we continue our September month. Now we're in the month of September Growth Series as we continue to educate and uplift people across the country as well as around the world. So with that, any last words, Dr. Williams?
I'd like to thank again everyone that listens to us, that supports us, that passes the word. Please pass the word, for them to subscribe and to like. We need that. So
Mm-hmm.
do that, and we'd like to thank you again. And I pray for you every day.
All right, Mr. Lois?
yeah, continue to take care of yourself. Always get a thoroughly checkup. Don't be afraid or anything. Because life be life, but all we can do is just take the punches and just keep on going with life.
All right. Well, with that, we'll tune in every Tuesday at, of course, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm sorry, Pacific Time, and at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm still in Virginia Beach, Virginia, so my time zone is pretty much off right now. But just continue to keep the faith, ladies and gentlemen, and keep building your dream. And we'll talk to you again. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye bye.